Our countdown to kickoff continues, and we stop today in Russellville, where we get to visit with Kyle Shipp, who is in his third year at the helm of Arkansas Tech, but it's going to be the second season that we get to see the Wonder Boys take to the field. Coach, I know you have had some time out on the field already. Can you take us through camp a little bit, kind of the midpoint right now, and let us know how things are happening in Russellville?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's always fun to talk about our program and our kids. And, we are about the midpoint of our camp. And so far, our kids are handling it really well. They're excited about a season, excited about a game coming up in almost 2 weeks. And so they're excited about that. We've been working really hard, getting after it. This has been a draining camp. We've pushed them pretty hard this camp, probably more than 2019. And so just trying to get those guys over the hump and understand what it takes to win.
Is there something to, knowing that, boy, there's going to be really some fruit to this camp? I mean, we know for sure where last year, it looked like possibly, maybe, I don't know, maybe spring, maybe not, whatever the case may be. But it sure does feel like that, in 2 weeks, you're going to get a game. How does that affect them mentally?
Well, mentally, that's what they're here. Obviously they're here to get a degree, but in a lot of their minds, they're here to play football. And so when they're having that opportunity, they're just excited. They're ready to play somebody else. And so the excitement and the anticipation for the first game is there.
I know you have a number of players returning, and it looks like it's a pretty good mix of those who are returning for you on both offense and defense, and some new names and faces. Of course, on the ground, you have Beatty coming back, your leading running back from a couple of years ago, and Wade also, your leading receiver coming back. But we know there's going to be somebody new in that quarterback position. So that's been something I'm sure that's been a nice competition in camp.
It has, in almost every position on offense, we have returning starters. O-line, just talking about them, you got Larry Clark, Myron Henderson, Christian Meyer, Garrett Jaster, all started games for us in 2019. And we've got some depth with some more guys that are in that room that play games. We feel like we're deeper at the O-line. Tight end wise, you got Caleb Stokes and Tucker Kennedy who started games for us. And then the receiver, like you said, you got Drew Wade coming back. You got Tyler Polk, Brendan Lewis, and Trey Smith, who have all been guys for us that are seniors and have started games as well. And so we feel like in that room, again, we've gotten better at every position. I'm sure everybody feels the exact same way I do. At running back, Caleb Beatty, having him back is big because he's a good leader and he's a very physical runner. We got the twins, Keon and Deion Simmons, both very explosive kids. Kyron Harrison, David Anderson. I could name about 10 of them right now, but got a deep position group there at running backs as well. And then quarterback, everybody wants to know. And we got a really good group in there as well. We've got an older group. We've got Jack Lindsay, who transferred us in the spring from Arkansas, who's done a great job. Caleb Kennedy, he's been here for a year now with a transfer, but started at UAM at one time. And he's done a good job. Cade Yeager has been here for 2 years now, done a good job. And Jack Grissom has done a really good job, has grown a lot in the last 2 years. And he might have the strongest arm I've ever seen in my life, to be honest with you.
Wow.
He's got an impressive arm.
Well, and you're right, Coach, and everybody wants to know. That's that position that everyone wants to know, and they'll follow camp pretty closely. But, it's interesting as you talk about returners coming back. That's one area that, from 2019, there's nobody that was recording stats for you, from that position that's back on your roster right now. So we know it's going to be somebody new there for you in Russellville. We're speaking with Kyle Shipp right now, whose Wonder Boys are picked 8th according to the preseason poll in the Great American Conference preseason coaches poll. You talked about a set of twins. You have another set of twins on the defensive side of the ball in Dio and Gio Williams, and I'll let you get started with that defense from there.
Well, of course, you got Gio and Dio that are kind of the mainstays on defense as far as for the last 4 years. But you also have, I think our defensive line has a chance to be really good. We got guys like Carlos Gordon, George Brooks, Arion Banks, Derek Albers, Davion Smith, Ryan McCoy. All those guys played a lot in 2019. And we have Kevin North's another one of those guys. And we have another probably 68 guys that could also play. It's the deepest D-line we've had since we've been here. Obviously, that's always good to have when you have we think you have a good defensive line. maybe you can stop some run, maybe you get some pressure on quarterbacks, and we feel like we got a very good group right there.
Coach,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if you address that too really quickly, it seems to me in watching a lot of Division II, I mean, the trenches right there, your offense and defensive line, to be able to have depth like that, not just the quality players up front, but to have that depth, that has to be a big luxury.
It is. And we recruited to that. We made that a priority on both sides to make sure that we have the players we need on the offensive line and defensive line. If you don't recruit to it, you won't be good at it. So that's one of the emphasis we have every year. And we feel like we've done a pretty good job, and hopefully this year we'll see that.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead and take us through the rest of the defense.
Okay, we had linebackers. We have, of course, Gio Williams returning. We have Armand Harris, Christian Cole, Corey Chun, Matthew Minix, who didn't play in 19. He redshirted. We think he had a chance to be good. Victor Hill transferred to us from UCA. Very talented young man. Very excited about him. Cameron McCason transferred to us from William Jewell. And I want to say he was their leading tackler or second leading tackler for them. So we've definitely added a lot of depth in that room as well. And then defensive backs, Darian Kane, Denzel Washington, Alex Chambers, Tyrus Fort, and then Dio Williams all started in 2019. And then we got some young guys that are in that same mix of being starters, Trayon Jones, Matt Arnold, guys like that have a chance to make an impact on the back end as well.
Just a couple of weeks from now, Coach, and you mentioned that it's going to get here before you know it. It's a Thursday night for the opening of the season, and that is there in Russellville, taking on Southeastern, the Savage Storm, coming to town, and then your first road game the very next Saturday against East Central in Ada. Can you talk us through your schedule?
Well, this schedule looks like it's a little more favorable than 2019's was. We kind of had a pretty rough first 5-6 games this year. Every game, if you don't come to play, you'll get beat. But I like how it's staggered with the Arkansas and Oklahoma schools, and it's not just all one at one time. And so having Southeastern, we know how much better they've gotten over the last 2 years. I think they feel like just like we do. They've gotten a lot better. They're going to have a chance to be good, all that. East Central feels the exact same way. Then, of course, there's Washita, UAM is going to be better. Southern Naz, Oklahoma Baptist. You got Southwest, who's going to be better. Northwest, SAU, Henderson. I mean, it doesn't matter who you play. From week to week, they're all have gotten better over the last 2 years, and we all feel the same way right now. That we've gotten better, and we're just ready to play a game.
Coach, I'll ask you this then in light of that, because I think you're right. I think that the water is rising, the tide is rising in the conference as a whole. 6 home games as opposed to 5. Then you have 6 home games on the schedule. Does that make any kind of difference, or one way or the other?
I think it always helps to have a home game, especially with us. We lead the conference in attendance every year, so our community does a great job of backing us. We average right around 5,000 people every game, and that goes back to a lot of the community service that we do. We always make our kids understand community service is a big deal. If you do a great job for the community, they're going to show back up for you on Saturdays. And that's been going like that for years here. And we'll continue that trend as well. And we're excited about having 6 home games, 6 home opportunities.
All right. Well, the Wonder Boys are picked 8th according to the preseason poll in the Great American Conference. And Coach Kyle Shipp, success to you all this season. Success to Arkansas Tech. And thank you so much for taking some time with us today, midway through camp. And I hope the rest of it goes well for you.
All right. I appreciate you having me on, and we'll see you September 2nd.